taste to use Vestal's own research to challenge the domination of his biography, but my book and his are of very different characters. In preparation for his book, Vestal conducted exhaustive interviews with elderly Indians on the Sioux reservations of North and South Dakota. His field trips occurred in the late 1920s and early 1930s, when the young men of Sitting Bull's time were in their 70s and 80s, but still mentally alert. He won the confidence of Sitting Bull's family and associates while they could still recount their experiences and impressions. In particular, White Bull and One Bull, Sitting Bull's nephews, were indispensable. Vestal's papers at the University of Oklahoma Library in Norman are invaluable, although recorded in an invented shorthand almost impossible to decipher without extensive background knowledge. Neither his book nor mine could have been written without them. Vestal's biography is another matter. His Sitting Bull and mine are essentially the same person. We reached our destination, however, by different routes. He built his character more by literary than historical method. Mine is built by historical method. The Vestal genre is not unique. He was one of a trio of scholars who presented themselves as historians, but viewed the Sioux mainly through literary lenses. The other two were Mary Sandoz, biographer of Crazy Horse, and John G. Neihardt, author of the classic Black Elk Speaks. Like Vestal, they achieved ultimate truth in works that are good literature, but bad history. Vestal's interpretations of Sitting Bull came as a shock to many Indians and whites identified with his final years. They remembered him as a disgruntled troublemaker, obstinate, conceited, narrow-minded, obstructionist, a physical and moral coward, and pretender to high rank and power that had never existed. Some, such as missionary Thomas L. Riggs, complained that White Bull and One Bull, and others of Sitting Bull's clique, had duped Vestal by portraying a sainted but fictional forebear. In fact, James McLaughlin, Sitting Bull's Indian agent during the reservation years, duped everyone, white and Indian alike. Finding Sitting Bull unpliable, too much of the Indian of old to lend his influence to government programs for transforming his people into imitation whites, McLaughlin created the false portrait that dominated thoughts about Sitting Bull until Vestal reshaped it more truthfully. I have discovered enough persuasive evidence in other sources to corroborate the essence of the image recalled for Vestal by White Bull, One Bull, and other Indians of the 1920s. It is exceedingly difficult to write the biography of a person of another culture, especially one that in its essentials no longer exists. I have tried to look at Sitting Bull in terms of his cultural norms, not mine. Where whites drew false conclusions because of ignorance of his culture, I have sought to stress his rational underlying motives. Where I could not fathom his motives, I have tried to avoid judgments according to my culture, when his, if only better understood, might have supplied a logical explanation. Yet Sitting Bull's claim to significance beyond his own tribe rests on his role in the collision of two cultures, and I have therefore tried to view him from the white as well as the Indian perspective. From both, he emerges as an enduring legend and a historical icon, but above all, as a truly great human being. Georgetown, Texas, August 2007. Prologue. The white buffalo woman gave the Lakotas the sacred calf pipe, and with it all that made life meaningful. The people had wandered the earth for countless generations, ever since emerging from the underworld in misty antiquity. Not until the wondrous appearance of the white buffalo woman, however, were they truly Lakotas. "There was nothing sacred before the pipe came," explained Left Heron. "There was no social organization, and the people ran around the prairie like so many wild animals." She appeared first to two hunters. Approaching, they beheld a beautiful woman, garbed in white buckskin and carrying a bundle on her back. So exquisite